Good evening. I would like to call to order the public hearing of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, March the 15th, 2022. On behalf of the members of the school board and superintendent, I welcome each of you present or watching. A quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. We will begin tonight's meeting with a pledge to the flag. I'm going to ask Madam Vice Chair, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, the board will open its public hearing for comments regarding the proposed fiscal year 2023 operating budget. Prior to your comments, a short overview will be provided by the superintendent. The board considers this an opportunity tonight to listen to your comments, and we will consider your comments and your concerns in our deliberations. We ask that when you come up, you comply with our 3-minute time limit so that all persons who desire to comment may have an opportunity to do so. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on at the end of the dais over here. A yellow light signals that you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light indicates that your time is up. We thank you for your adherence to our guidelines. The board will hear public comment on the fiscal year 23 operating budget right after Dr. Parker's overview. Dr. Parker, would you please provide your overview?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a condensed version of last week's presentation to the board of the proposed FY 2023 operating budget. As we indicated in our presentations, our budget is developed in alignment with our strategic plan, Journey 2025. There are 5 components of our strategic plan, which we align our spending plan with, and student success being academic achievement, wellness, employee expertise, enhanced partnerships, and the stewardship of resources. This budget also takes into considerations areas such as school safety, healthcare, our healthcare needs for our employees, technology needs as we look at as we are a one-to-one school division, and maintaining that device initiative is important for us, and improving the quality of our learning spaces. Just a quick summary of the revenue associated with that budget. In this graph, you see the our current fiscal year, FY 2022, compared to FY 2023. We are anticipating, based on the proposed governor's budget, which was submitted in December of 2021, our anticipation is a $19.8 million increase in revenue. However, as we've mentioned, we have to wait to the House and Senate confirm a state budget, which is passed by the governor. That figure may change due to the outcome of the budget discussions that are taking place. And as of today, neither the House and Senate have not agreed on a state budget. So we'll wait to see how that plays out in the coming weeks. The city has agreed for a $2.8 million increase to support this budget. And if we look at the other areas, federal revenue and other revenue, that would be flat for this operating budget. So we're looking at overall a $22.6 million increase in FY 2023 based on the projected revenue that we have available today. Just taking a look at the how the budget is spent in terms of the operational revenue. This proposed budget would allocate 66.3% of this budget would be supported with state funding for a total of $238.2 million. City revenue, 32.3% of this budget of the budget is composed of city revenue. Federal is 0.9%, and other sources of revenue 0.5%. So a few key highlights on the spending plan. We are looking at all contracted employees receiving a 5% increase. We will continue the work of looking at teacher compression, and which are experience adjustments. So on average, our teachers will receive a 6.5% increase. The range would be 5 to 7% based on their position experience with the school division. We also are looking at increasing the starting teacher pay to make it more competitive on our salary scales and comparable to surrounding school divisions, and adjusting the minimum starting pay to $15 per hour for all classified employees. That is something we'd like to accomplish this year. There's still a couple of employee groups that are below $15. This budget will bring everyone up to above $15. Where we're making significant strides would be in the areas of hard to fill classified positions such as bus drivers, custodians. We are also looking at compression or experience adjustments associated with those, with that staff that would bring their current hourly rates up as well. Bus drivers will increase to over $20.16 as a starting wage for in this fiscal budget, and we will maintain our employee incentives for hiring, such as a $3,000 signing bonus for bus drivers and a $2,000 referral bonus for any employees who refer a bus driver to the school division. In the areas of school safety, we're looking at campus safety and remaining as a remaining priority. Huntington Middle School, we are adding an additional middle school officer, security officer to Huntington Middle School, and we'll continue to upgrades to school intercom and security cameras, and also looking at select metal detectors to make sure that we have both the wands and the standing structures in all of our schools to fully support any comprehensive searches that we may perform on site. Middle school athletics is a targeted area in this budget. We're designating 0.8 or $800,000 towards seed money to start middle school programs in football, wrestling, boys and girls soccer, and girls cheerleading. And in technology, maintaining our technology infrastructure remains a high priority. So this budget will allocate $2.7 million to continuing to replenish students' computers, looking at network infrastructure, continuing to repurpose and supply our STEM carts, iPads, iPods, much of the technology that we push into the classrooms that are available to students, and also continue to improve our network security. In the areas of operations and maintenance, additional $2.7 million in this budget, proposed budget, would address, again, we mentioned security, cameras, devices, and metal detectors, but in areas such as maintenance-related areas such as electrical, HVAC, carpentry, and flooring, it's important that we continue to replace things like carpetings that's worn out, and other areas, HVAC systems. We're continue to look at additional maintenance and upgrading our electrical systems. So those are always going to be maintenance items that we will have included in our budget to maintain our spaces. One of the areas that we continue to work on is in the area of healthcare, and the pandemic has continued to make that a key area of focus. We anticipate an increase of approximately $3.7 million in our healthcare premiums the next fiscal cycle for healthcare, which starts in January, from January to January. And to manage that, we are proposing that we split the cost of that, or share the cost of that, with our employees this year. This slide shows the history of employee premium changes over the past few years, and you would see in this particular case that we did not pass costs on to employees traditionally. What we're asking is employees share some of the cost of that $3.7 million, and this budget anticipates $1.5 million to be shared by employees, and the remaining portion would be shared by the school division. So looking at all the staffing that's associated with this budget, 18 positions in all that are proposed in this budget. These will all be repurposed positions and have a zero net increase on the budget. So the goal is to take current FTEs that are vacant or have been historically vacant, and to repurpose those FTEs to cover the cost of these 18 positions that would be repurposed for the betterment of the school division. So looking at expenditures, just how the money will be spent, how do you split up a $359.4 million budget? The majority of it is salary and benefits, people. And that's usually always the case where we because we're in the human business, right? So teachers, support staff, and the health and salaries and benefits takes up the majority of that budget. 62% for salaries, 24.9% benefits, and the remaining portion, 47.3%, which is 13.2% of that budget, covers everything else. And that in this particular case, that increases to $47.3 million. And we also have a very robust offering of grants. We're very aggressive in pursuing grants that also supplements the non-personnel portions of our budget. If you break that down by operations category or by function, instructional services is roughly 72.3% of our budget. Transportations, administration and attendance and health, 6.2%. Transportation, 6.4%. Operations and maintenance, 10.3%. Facilities and debt service, roughly about 0.3%. Technology is 4.5%. So if we looked at it by function, the majority of our budget is spent again on personnel and instructional services. And this is the portion of the budget presentation where we show how that budget is balanced. The amount of the anticipated increase in revenue is $22.6 million. So we had to show that we would balance the budget with by showing a $22.6 million net or zero net. So in order to do that, we looked at, again, the 18 new positions were budget neutral by repurposing current FTEs, looking at turnover and attrition when employees leave our division or retire, replacing them with a new employee, or unfilled positions. Also, we can anticipate a certain percentage of those, and that is, and those two figures would equate to roughly around $4.2 million in this budget. Looking at the employee share of the increase in healthcare premiums, $1.5 million, and then also looking across our budget to see where we can save dollars by reducing some department spending plans, $3.2 million, which gave us a savings of $8.9 million, which allowed us to balance the budget. So the recommendation on March 22nd will be for the school board to approve a budget of $359.4 million at the next meeting. And we have also asked the board to consider a one-time bonus for employees this year out of FY22 funds for full-time employees and part-time eligible employees as well this fiscal year. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my remarks on the proposed budget.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Parker. At this time, I do not have any cards. Madam Clerk, do you have any cards at this time? All right. There being no cards, I'll pause for a moment if anyone wants to just raise their hand if they're going to, in the audience, going to get a card before we adjourn. All right. Okay. We'll pause for a moment so you can get a card. All right, so I'm going to call, at this time, I'm going to call Denise Parker.
Good evening. I came to this meeting tonight because we have a problem. The problem is that in cafeteria nutrition, child nutrition, we seem to be left behind. And when it comes to us, I think we're right there with the teachers when it comes to for us taking care of the kids because we provide the food. We feel like we're left behind. A lot of us do. Sometimes people feel like the work in the cafeteria is not hard work. The work is not hard, but standing on the hard cement floor for 6 hours, that makes the work hard. I would like to see if we can have some mats in there. We have several young ladies, including myself, that have arthritis in our lower back and our feet. I get shots in my feet. I get shots in my back. So I would like to see if y'all can make that happen for us. We would really appreciate that. Also, I would like to really ask y'all to try to get the budget for us to pay. That's really important. The money that we make is not a lot of money, but everything is going up. Cars, gas, food, clothes, and a lot of us have kids that are still in school. So it's very important if we can get that budget approved for us. We really feel like we need more than 5%. But I guess if we have to start at 5% and, get a little bit more later, that would be fine. But I would like y'all to really consider child nutrition. We don't get recognized enough. A lot of people come to the school, they walk, they look around, they talk to the teachers, everybody in administration. They don't come to the cafeteria to see how we feel, what we think. They don't do that. So I would like for more people to, when you come to the school to visit, any of you, just come by the cafeteria and just say, hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing this morning? Are y'all feeling okay? That means a lot. And especially through this pandemic where we have been working in the cold outside, in the rain, and everybody else is at home in a warm house. So please just consider everything I have asked here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. At this time, do we have any additional cards? Do we have any additional cards? And there being no additional cards, we will now call this meeting adjourned.
There you are.